is that you were pretty close in terms of intonation. You were not that far off.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I really, really struggle with the bow more. I can tell when I haven't hit the note. Like,
Yeah,
I think I can tell when I haven't hit the note. And the fingering is one thing.
right.
But bowing and getting a sound out of it
Yeah.
is still it's still, it can be pretty horrible.
Well, I mean, always remember what Yehudi Menuhin said about somebody asked him, how long does it take to play the violin, to master the
Yeah.
violin? And he said, 10 years for the left hand, nobody's ever finished for the right hand. So it is the big challenge. And just I'm glad that you're thinking about it. Lots of people don't even really give it any thought and they just kind of saw away. So continue to think about it and try to make your best sound. It all has to do with what we were working on last time, the touch and the speed of your bow. That's what it's all about. And so you're in the discovery phase, So you're discovering when it's a little too fast for the weight, or the other way around, or when you have to stop, or all that kind of stuff. And so just keep trying to learn that stuff so that you can be gentler and get a better sound. But I think you're well on your way.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a great job. Think of something else for next time. That was really good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Or the other thing is, I was going to say, you can also do it in a different key. You can start it on the D string.
Okay, because because I didn't look it up, I just kind of picked away at it, and I started it too low and ran out of,
Yeah.
ran out
So
of room there.
yeah. And so if you started on the D string, I actually mean you start on the A string. So
Okay.
see that? Yeah. And then you're doing it on the DAE, which is the key of A. So all the same finger positions exactly, except just different set of strings. So, and it's fun. It's something different while you're working on it. And also, I might add that this song is usually done in the key of A.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give that a shot.
Good Scottish key.
Yes.
All right. Now, that was awesome. Who else wants to play a little ditty that they've worked out in their brain over the last week or so? Joanne? Let me unmute you. There. Unmute. There we go. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Okay, I did try to work out Amazing Grace.
Oh, let's hear it. Excellent job. Very good. Again, I'm hearing like the intonation, you're really close. Both you guys were really close. For the most part, when I'm listening to it, it sounds a little flat. And that usually is just because you got to press a little harder with your left hand. Got to be a little bit more sure of yourself. But besides that, I think that was great. Keep doing that. That's really good, and your ear is obviously working just fine. Okay? Who else? Who else wants to play us a little ditty? No? Nobody? That's fine. We can start in. So, I was thinking one song that's a great field there, Sharon. Very apt for the time of year, etc.
Yeah. I gotta remove it, sorry.
Oh, I kind of like it though. Except it does look weird. People's fiddle hands disappear in the virtual backgrounds.
Yeah, that's why I want to remove it. It'll look kind of weird.
My kid's favorite is the planet one, and they get me to put it up here, and then they get me to pick them up as if they're flying away from the planet. It's a gag.
That's cool.
Anyway, so I was teaching this young girl down in New Orleans, and I remembered that You Are My Sunshine is a really, really good one to try to work out on the fiddle. We might even just try, learn it when we do D. Have we done the key of D yet? Have we practiced the key of D yet? We've done for the 2-octave scales. We've done G. Have we done A? Did we do A? We did. Okay. So did we just spend 1 week on A? Okay. So maybe we'll do another week of A, and we're working on Mrs. McLeod's, but then we'll work on D major. Because to practice D major on the whole fiddle, when I say the whole fiddle, I mean all 4 strings, you have to kind of do an extended version of D major. So I can show you that. And then we'll learn You Are My Sunshine. Just let me make sure it's in A, though, or in D. Actually, we can do it in A. We can do both. This is another one of those songs where you can do it in 2 keys just by changing strings. Watch this. So this is in A. So that means I'm going to start on the E on the D string, and then that's the pickup, a few of the pickup notes. Okay, and then I'll be playing the C sharp. So watch this. Okay, see that? And then you can do it down here. Same fingering. See that? So that's another one of those songs that you can do easily, switch around just by starting on a different string. And it's really good to do that. Great for your ear. So maybe we'll try a bit of that. But anyway, for now, why don't we practice our warm up our G? Well, let's do our bowing, a quick round of our bowing exercises, and then we'll do our G major scale. Okay? So we'll start with the long bows, and then we'll do the down, up, up, down, up, up. And then we'll do the jiggle. And then we'll do the chicken. I think that's about it, isn't it? For now. Oh, we're doing hand, 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 arm, arm too. But we'll look at that separately because we just started that. So here we go. We'll do the long bows first. Down and up on each string starting on the G. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, now we'll do the down, up, up. Ready, and. Now we'll do our jiggle. 1, 2, jiggle and. Okay, now let's do our chicken. Ready, 2, here we go. Okay, now that looks pretty good. Everybody's bows are moving nicely there. Anybody having any revelations or problems or concerns or disillusionments about any of those bowing exercises over the week? Anything at all? Comments or questions or anything? No? Everybody getting more used to this here? Kind of trying to approach the strings with your fingers as well as your hand and your arm a bit? Yeah? That's great. Okay, what are we doing here? After my screen. Oh, we lost Shona. She showed up, but then she disappeared. Oh, there's Shona. She just doesn't have a camera or a microphone. Okay. Anyway, so hopefully, yeah, we're using a little bit of the fingers there. Why don't we do that last one again? Because when we do the hand, arm exercise, it's basically that chicken. Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask. Are we doing the chicken with down, up, up, or are we just doing down bows? Down, up. Which one were we doing? Anybody? Back and forth? Okay.
I thought it was down, down.
Okay, so let's try doing back and forth, okay? If you were doing down, all downs, let's try doing the up as well. Okay, you'll notice it's a little different. It's in some ways trickier. The up bow I find a little trickier, but let's start getting used to that as well, okay? So let's do that again, and then we're going to talk about how that relates to hand, arm. All right? Poor Shona's having problems. Okay. Ready? 2, here we go. Okay, and like I said, I don't mind a little bit of noisiness at that point. At this point, we're just trying to get this mechanism working. So if we have a few little squeaks and pops, it's okay. We'll get rid of them. Okay. Now, when you're talking about how this relates to the hand, arm, if you look, when I'm doing those chicken bows, I'm using my fingers and my hand. Hey, Shona, you finally got on. That's great.
Sorry I'm late.
That's all right. And we're just talking about chicken bowing, and we're relating it to hand, arm. So with the latter, it's basically like the chicken bowing, except I'm not taking my bow off the strings. See that? And I'm still trying to keep it nice and clean, just like, except with my bow on the strings. And you want to try to make sure that your arm just melts there after your hand stuff is done. So you want it to kind of just go, oh, like that. See, I'll show you once more. Okay, so let's all give that a go. So put your bow on the string near the frog. on the G string. We'll start on the G string. And we're going to do the hand, 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 and then the long bows, okay? Ready, 2, here we go. D. Another one. A. An E. Okay, now we're going to keep practicing that, but I want to check in and see how everybody's getting along. How is that feeling? Are you able to get some nice, clean, little momentary notes there, or are you having lots of problems? Anybody want to let me know?
I wondered about, so I've been trying to keep my elbow in, so
Yeah.
just how that works with kind of letting it flow out too. It's a
Now-
challenge for me to understand what I'm not supposed to do and when I am supposed to sort of let it go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, first of all, so you're saying your elbow in. What do you mean by that? Like,
Well, the whole thing in the doorway. That's my elbow in, kind of keeping it more tight to my side, so I don't fly out.
okay,
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge sometimes coming at the end of
Yeah.
just what you were doing there, in between letting it go out and making sure that the chicken wing thing doesn't happen.
Yeah. So with that, with the first of all, your elbow should not be involved in any part of this, right? Like it's like this, and the elbow pretty well stays where it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And even when we do the long bow, it's from the elbow down, and you're absolutely right. It's near the end that you start to have trouble keeping it straight, right?
Right.
So what you do is, when I'm finished my down bow, this is what I look like. See that? My arm is straight out in front of me, and my wrist is pretty well as far back as it can go. Okay, that's the end of my down bow. So that's kind of what you're going for. The end of my up bow, I look like a chicken wing. See that?
Yeah.
And it's all kind of like this, and that's how and always remember, if you're having trouble, especially at the ends, which is a very common thing, always remember to go back to this.
So can I ask?
Yeah.
The hardest one for me is the G string.
Yeah.
Because I can go down and find the end of my bow.
Yeah.
With a straight arm, but I can't seem to fly out.
Let me see you use your full bow on the G string and back up a bit so I can watch your right arm.
So,
Okay, so it looks like you got plenty of mobility there, and it looks like you're doing a good job. It's just a bit awkward on the G string. Now, you know, they used to say back in the Royal Conservatory days that your elbow can move. Like, if you're playing over on the G string mostly, then your elbow will come up a little bit to make it more comfortable to play over there. You see what I mean? but it's not supposed to come much. You're not supposed to completely immobilize that right elbow. You're just kind of trying to keep it to a minimum. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I was watching a young fellow. He was a violinist. I can't remember now. His famous thing was the Paganini variations or whatever. And I was watching his elbow, and he did indeed do that. Like, because those Paganini variations use the whole fiddle over and over. And I could see his hand going over to the G, and then his elbow coming up a bit. And then by the time he worked his way down to the E, his elbow would come down a bit. See that? And it really did look like that. And that's certainly what I do too. So yeah, once you're over there, it is okay for that to come up a tiny bit.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks. Yep.
Anybody else? Any revelations or disillusionments or problems? Or did anybody throw their bow out the window this week or anything like that? No? Cool. Okay. Anyway, so let's try that again then. Hand, 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 arm, arm. Let's do 2 sets on each string, and then we'll go back to the G as well. And then I want to hear somebody do it. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and. Now that all looks like it's moving pretty good. Who wants to try playing it for me so I can keep my ear on you? Katya, right on. Let's do it. You're still muted though. There we go. That's really, really excellent. I have a good view of your hand from this angle, and it was really doing the moving. And I'm recording this, so when you go back and watch it, you can see that you're actually doing it, which is great, okay? Now, you had more trouble with the E string. That's very normal, because you have your nice wrist action, but when you get to the E, it's like, oh, I got none left. You see that? Yeah. But you actually do. You just have to kind of exaggerate it and let it drop. Remember that with the E, you can let gravity do a bit of that for you, okay? And just exaggerate it a little bit more, but that's really good. Now, Katya right now is stopping her bow between each note, okay? And you guys are probably doing that too. And that's great. We want a clean stop and a clean start, but then eventually we're going to smoothen it out so that it sounds, and this is, I think, Katya, when you're practicing, you can keep this in mind, because we're going to eventually kind of do it like this. See that? Nice and smooth. So same idea, but now we're kind of loosening the fingers and wrist even more. So keep that in mind while you're practicing. It might happen once in a while, okay? Who else wants to play it for me? Shona does. I can tell. Why not?
To do this, I can't play any of the tunes yet, but sure.
That's all right, man. Let's hear it.
Okay.
Okay. So that's first of all, I thought that you were doing you seem to have long fingers.
I do.
Okay, and that's really good, obviously, for both the left hand and the right hand. Except I have one woman. She moved to Nova Scotia, but Melissa, she's got tremendously long fingers, and her problem was chronically sharp, all the time sharp. But for you, that length of finger, you're getting a really long note without even moving this part of your hand at all.
Right.
Yeah, so that is an advantage. However, I do want you to get that in the game. Now, you had the same problem on the E string as Katja had, where you ran out of bottom, right?
Right.
So you're going to really exaggerate this wrist. Your fingers are perf. Now you need to get that wrist in there, and you can be fooled by your fingers because you have long ones, and you can get a good one. Yeah, so you want to make sure that you're really, really flopping that out, okay? Now, on your E string, that up bow on the E string, you know, where you're trying to go up the icy hill and you go like that, and it's very susceptible on the E string because the E string is so thin. It's tiny, tiny thin, right? So all you have to do is combination of things. First of all, give a little nudge at the beginning of the up bow. It grabs the string a little bit, keeps it in line. The other thing is just remember to lead with that wrist. Pull the bow up rather than push it. You'll have a lot less of that.
I'm also probably not. It feels a little bit like I'm not putting enough down force in it, like
The weight.
the weight. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah, and the E string, you got to be careful on the E string because the E string doesn't like weight,
right.
On when I do a down bow on the E string, for instance, I never add any weight at all. Just the weight of the stick is plenty. However, when you get up to the tip of the bow, there's no weight there.
Right.
It's the empty end of the pickup truck. So for a lot of people's and their E strings, you do have to nudge a little bit, but only at the beginning, and then you get moving.
Okay.
Otherwise, she's gonna squawk at you. Okay? Who else gonna do it for me?
Here we go.
All right, let's hear it, Sherry, and then Sharon. Sherry, and then Sharon. Okay, so first of all, again, everybody so far is doing really well with this, and I'm sure everybody here can hear that the sound is good. There's not a huge number of squeaks and pops and whistles and crunches and stuff, so that's really good. Everybody's doing really well with that. For you, Sherry, you did much better on the GDA than on the E, just like these other guys. The E is a challenge, and I'll just remember it's a drop, okay? And also, you have this thing that I've seen so much where you can do your down bow pretty good, but then the up bow is this rather than this. Okay? Now, not all the time. Sometimes you did it. Sometimes you managed it. But if that was a tendency, I'd say that was it for you. Okay? And it's what I've seen a lot of times because the down bow is intuitive. You just flop your wrist, right? The up bow is like, it's a little bit more, you got to think about it a little bit more, okay? Very good, though. Very good quality of sound. Sharon, give it to me. I hope everybody's noticing the possibilities of things you can work on your own exercise to make it better.
So I'm finding I don't seem to have as much control of my bow. Like so can you watch my hand?
Yes.
Because my baby finger seems to pop up.
Mine does too, though. That's okay. Especially with the hand bowing. Watch me again.
Okay. Yeah, that's what mine tend to do, and then I may lose control a little bit.
Yeah, it depends on where you are on the bow, right? Let's give it a try and see. Now, that's not bad, Sharon. Not bad at all. I'm seeing some decent wrist movement there. You have a little bit of the same tendency as Sherry to do a good down bow, but not quite as good of an up bow. But you seem to kind of mitigate it in the meantime. That's
So
good
where's it
there.
supposed to be?
That was good there. That was good there, what you just did. Try it again.
Because now I'm getting the other.
Yeah, you're using your arm more now. Your first couple there were really good. Looked like this. That looks good.
Okay.
And that looks pretty well controlled. You didn't seem to have much trouble controlling that.
I know, but if I go to a next string, I think that's where I feel the bow kind of.
Yeah, so watch for a couple things. First of all, where you're doing it on the bow is good. You're doing it kind of a third of the way up, which I think is a good spot for you to do it in. And when you go to that other string, just make sure that upper arm isn't involved because it pushes. The problem is that big heavy arm pushes the bow over to the next string you don't want to be on. Okay? Okay, and you'll watch it. We're going to do it again, and you can watch yourself, see if that is happening. Anybody else want to try it for me or have a question or a comment? Okay, let's try it together, shall we? One more time. All right, here we go. Oh, 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, everybody feeling all right about that now? We can work on it? Good. Let's try our old G major scale, shall we? A 1, 2, here we go. Let's try the arpeggio while we're at it. Ready, and... One more time for the strengthening. does anybody want to play that for me so I can keep my ear on you and make sure everybody's kind of getting up there in tune for the most part? Who wants to give that a go? How about you, Lena? Oh, okay, Katya, you're good to go? Let's hear it. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So you had a few movings, right? And a little bit of sharpness at first, but you kind of corrected it. Do you want to try it once more? Maybe set your hand back a tiny bit and keep an eye on that low B. One more time. That was really good. Your high G was bang on. Did you notice?
Yeah, it was better.
Good. That's really good. Okay, great. Anybody else want to try it for me, or? Let's hear it, Lena.
You got it.
Okay. Now, that was good. Try pressing a little tiny bit harder on the one, on your one.
On the A string?
Yeah. That's better. So try the whole arpeggio with that in mind. Okay, now that time your B was good, but the rest of your hand traveled up a tiny bit. Did you notice that? Did you feel that?
Yeah, and it was kind of, I was like, the bow was bouncy, and that distracted from like doing the right things with this hand.
Yeah. Now, have I talked about bounce on the bow, why the bow bounces, and how you can get it to stop bouncing?
Well, it bounces if it's too tight. It bounces if it's too loose.
That is true. That is true. But with the movement of the bow, most of the bounce happens on the down bow. Have you ever noticed that? It's not really a problem with the up bow. It's mostly the down bow where you get the bounce. And what happens is this. So the bow looks like this, and it's a compressed spring like a car, like a leaf spring on a car. So when you're moving along the bow, you get to the middle. That's the middle of the leaf spring, so that's where you bottom out. You see how the stick is as close to the hair as it's going to get for the whole length of the bow? See that? I'll show you again. Everybody watch that. See there? It bottoms out, squished down to the bottom. Now, it never gets quite to the bottom, and if it does, your bow is definitely too loose. Anyway, so that's kind of the bottom, and then it kind of lets back out. See that? So the problem is that as soon as you get past the part where it bottoms out, now it's a compressed spring, and it wants to do this. See that? You can even feel it. You do that, and you let it up, and up it goes. Okay? So what you need to do is, as you move the bow down, this finger here kind of follows the stick while it bottoms out, and then keeps it into the strings the rest of the way, kind of like this. See that? Now I'm exaggerating it, because I would never kind of move up like that, but that's what my finger is doing. It's bringing in the weight as I go along, and if you get the timing just right, you will have no bounces. Now, if you bring it in too early, you get a bounce, or a couple. If you bring it in too late, you get a bounce. Okay, so you got to just put. What I did was I experimented. I moved the bow a little quicker, see at what point it starts bouncing, avoid that speed. Same with the slow. He's bringing it in too slow. So you just kind of pay attention, and that's how you get rid of your bounce there. This, at the right time, I really like the way my dad's teacher used to describe it. He said that the bow is shaped like this, and that's how we bow. Bow-shaped bowing. Keeping the bow into the strings. And then on the up bow, you can see why that's important, because you got to pick up the bow, get the weight off the strings on the up bow. See that? So you end up doing this motion. And then on the down bow, it's this motion. Okay? Now, do you want to try a bit of that now, and we'll see if you can get the bounce out? Just the first few notes of it.
Just me or everybody?
Just you.
Okay. Okay, 1 second.
That's all right.
Second. I think I'd like way.
You're flat. Just got to go a little higher. Now that was a way better moving bow. Did you notice how much clearer and nicer that was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it all really
I
has...
was too much. I was going a little too much at the beginning.
You might need to. You know, like I'm always saying, like it's good to exaggerate these things at first so you can get just a little bit of it happening. Okay, really good. Okay, so that's the bounce. And I don't know if I talked about how to get the bounce out, but that's how to get it out. All right? Now, does anybody else want to play me anything, or should we go on to the swallowtail? I was thinking we could get that a little bit fast. I tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we play the swallowtail together a couple of times? All right, nice and easy. And then I want to hear somebody play it. Okay? So my goal with this tune is to get it a tiny bit quicker, and of course, just as accurate. So nice and easy now. 1, 2, 3. How did we do, people? I saw the bows going pretty good. Not many people bailing or anything like that. Who wants to play it for me? Sherry?
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, I'm not promising everybody plug your ears.
That sounds really good, Sherry. That's really good. Are you having any problems with anything?
Just the nervous jitters playing in front of the people.
Geez, well, I thought you did very well. And in fact, I don't really see any reason why we can't speed it up a bit. Yeah, because nothing really went wrong. There was one minor little skirmish, but otherwise, and when you finished up, your E was quite nicely in tune.
Right.
Okay, your third finger's a little bit on the flat side, but we're working on that. We'll just brighten that up. But otherwise, the end point is always good. It's good to have a good ending point, and that was very good. So I can't see why we can't speed it up. Do you think that would work? Do you think you could play it faster?
I usually do, but then it sounds like horrible. So I want it to sound good to start, and then I'll go horrible.
Now, so here's what it is about going fast. I always say that going fast is the canary in the coal mine. Going fast is what brings forth your weaknesses about a tune. Okay, for me, it's almost always, if I'm working on a tune and then I go to play it up to speed and something stops me, it's always because I think I know a bit. A connector note or a pickup note, I think I know it, but I don't. I don't quite have it, and so that's what I notice when I go fast. It's like, oh, okay, I don't quite have that little bit, or if it's a technique thing, it's like, oh, here's the part where I got to cover a couple of strings and do this move, and then if you're going fast and you don't make her, then that's what you got to work on. You see what I mean? Yeah, so going fast is your canary in the coal mine. So we're going to try it faster, and I'd be interested to see and ask what it is that stops you. What it is that your first kind of stoppage, because that's what you have to pay attention to. Very good. Anybody else want to play it for me? Lena, you look like you want to play it.
All right, fine.
You looked like you were reaching for the mute. That's basically my giveaway there, but guys, by the way.
All right. I'll try and go faster even though I can't yet.
Sure, that's a great idea. Hey, man, nothing went wrong there at all. That's great. Now, if I were to complain, which I never do, and I hate to do it, I never ever do it, but if I were to, then I would say that maybe the one thing that suffered a bit was your intonation. Did you hear your hand come up the neck of the violin? I could tell that you could hear it because I could see you fighting it. All right?
Yeah.
I could see you getting some, because you did manage to get a lot of the notes in tune, but I know that it was hard work. I know that you were kept trying to move back. And so sometimes when you go faster, that happens. The Great Northern Migration is just because of a combination of things, mostly tension, and up she comes, right? So that's the only thing that I saw affected by your speed there was that, which is not that hard to keep under control.
The other thing is I do find that I'm really rolling the bow like away from me.
Yeah.
And I constantly have to like remind my hand to do it's making me so squeaky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the other thing that I'm
So, and the key to that is a loosening of the grip so that the bow sits on the strings kind of on its own and that you're not twisting it with your fingers, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, at first, it's hard to get that loose grip. It takes time to relax the grip. Oh, but the spider crawl is what you want to practice for that. By the time you can do the spider crawl really easily, you're gripping that bow at the minimum, with the absolute minimum of grip that you need to play. If your thumb can easily move like this, you know, when you're doing that spot, especially like on the way up, you know, that's when you need to move that thumb down so you can get back up. See that? Oh. There you go. Okay? So if you can get it so that your thumb can move but the bow doesn't drop, then that's when you're starting to get a nice nimble grip and you're going to get a lot less of that. Okay? Because it's just where your fingers are squeezing on the bow and kind of pushing it or twisting it on you. Okay? The other thing is starting point. So when you first put the bow on the strings, a lot of people have this thing where when they first put the bow on the strings, it's at a big angle. Either this way or the other way, and they don't realize that that's their starting point, and you don't want that, right? So once in a while, you put your bow on the strings and see if it's already at an angle, and if it is, just okay, because I've seen that quite a lot. Okay. Otherwise, I don't see why any reason between you and Sherry. I don't really see any reason why we can't all practice it at that tempo. What do you think? Do you think it's possible? Okay, let's do it. Let's practice it at that tempo, and then I want to see if anybody had a problem and what it might be, and then we're going to move on to the key of A. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Okay. All right. All right. Now, I thought that went pretty good. I didn't see many casualties. Maybe a couple.
I dropped the bow.
You dropped the bow. Well, you're definitely holding it loosely. That's good. Okay, good. Now, tell me, was anybody stopped in their tracks? Especially the second time around when I'm not sure if you noticed, but I pushed you a little faster. Okay? Who was stopped up by that? Anybody stopped by that? What's that, Sherry? You're muted.
Yeah, so what happened to me, I either don't know the song well enough or I just don't have the fingering quick enough because I'll get lost and I'll stop. But I know where to jump back in again. Like I
That's good.
know this is going to sound like this so I can jump in there, but this loses.
Can you identify what goes wrong with it, or is it just you're not sure? You just get mixed up.
I just don't think my fingers aren't trained to go. I'm thinking.
Okay.
Or I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So fingers aren't trained to go there yet.
Okay. Are you reading it?
No.
Okay. So that's great. So all you're going to do is more time on the slow. Okay, more time on the slow, and then when we next week, well, you could try it fast a couple of times on your own. Just try to do that approach, like I was saying. Pay attention to the first thing that goes wrong, okay, and that's going to be your sticking point. But I'm really glad you were able to keep jumping in. That's what you really want to do at this point. Anybody else? How about you, Katya?
Yeah. So I find, of course, if you go faster, I definitely tense up more.
Yes.
And I'm not as relaxed anymore. And then because the bow is, usually you practice the long bows, and then the faster you go, the shorter the bow is on the string.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes you get a little bit mixed up between finger and bow, right? So
yes.
Here's my prescription for that. So yes, it's true, the faster you go, you use a little bit less bow the faster you go. But for the most part, like at that tempo, even at that tempo, watch this. See how much bow I'm using there? So it's at that tempo, it's still possible, and that's far better. It's far better to practice maximum bow, no matter what the speed, than it is to kind of tighten your bows the faster you get. Okay. So basically, in response to your problem, I would light up the more bow sign.
Okay. And also these pickup notes, I can't play them because they throw me completely off.
Okay.
Because it changes the up and the down bow move, no?
Yes, it does. You gotta, I think we talked about it, you gotta slur them. You gotta slur them in with the previous note. So, dee da 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 da. Okay. Why don't you just try that for me? Try this here, Katya. And this would be probably good advice for everybody, but check this out. Just try that for me.
Yeah, that's not a problem. But
okay.
But that's not the pickup note though. The one you just played. That was.
I think she means the intro.
Yes.
Oh, just the intro?
Pickup. Yeah.
Okay.
The slurring is not so much a problem, but when you go, I start with this note. But you have one or two pickup notes before that, no?
Yeah, okay. So the pickup notes are an E and an F. That's a 1 and a 2 on your D string there.
Oh, yeah.
And you can do them in an up bow as well. See that?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, and sometimes it changes the up and down bow direction, and that...
Well, that's why you want to make sure that you do them both in an up bow. Okay? All right. Very good, though. That's good questions. Anybody else? What happens when we go fast? Anybody get stopped? Anybody get blown out of the water when we tried to go fast? How about you, Joanne? All right? Good? How about you, Nancy?
I was just going to ask. Sometimes I feel like I have a little delay sound in if I go faster because I'm wondering if there's a space in between when I'm hitting on the fingerboard
Yeah.
and when I'm bowing and I'm hearing a little
Overlappy.
Yeah, like a yeah, like it's almost like a delay. Like
Yeah. What it is it's your fingers outrunning your bow or your bow outrunning your fingers.
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I was just going to say trying to diagnose it is not easy for me to pick
Yeah.
apart because
Yeah.
there's so many different factors. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's something I've run into quite a lot. It's a very common problem among adults. And it's just because in Suzuki, I think I might have been talking about this before, how in Suzuki, for a lot of the first book, they make you stop your bow between every note.
I see that. Okay.
Because basically the choreography between your finger and your bow must be that your finger moves first. Your finger moves first and your bow moves second. If your finger and your bow moved at the same time, this is what it would sound like. Is that the sound you're talking about there?
Yeah. The little depression before the.
That's right. And that's basically because my bow has started to play the string right just a split second before my finger comes down.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So there's two things about that. The first thing is, like I was saying, in the Suzuki method, they make you keep stopping the bow, forcing your finger to move first. You know, that's the big thing, getting it to move before the bow all the time. And it really does force the issue. So you can take a tune like the Swallowtail, it'll be painstaking, but if you just did that with it once or twice, then you would get the idea how you got to get that hand moving ahead of time, ahead of the bow. The other thing is holding your fingers down. And I don't think I've talked very much about that yet. I hold my fingers down big time, you know. If you watch me play the beginning of this tune, just watch my hand. See that? One little move, lots of notes, because I put my finger down and I don't bother picking it back up. It's got both those B and the E that I need.
Yeah.
And then it's just, and then also it makes it sound stronger because every time I go back to that E, it's exactly the same E. It's not a little bit different every time. See that? So when you're playing your scales and your arpeggios, I want, and even in a tune, if you can manage it, I want you to try to hold your fingers down as much as you can and for as long as you can. Okay? Remember the soldiers in World War II used to have an expression about marching. If the good Lord will pick my feet up, I'll gladly put them back down. Because that's the effort, is the picking them up. Okay?
Sure.
So you want to try to keep them down as much as possible. And that's going to help for everybody play, especially this tune. Okay? Anybody else before we try it again at that speed? Anyone else? Problems, questions, queries? All right, let's do it. So we're going to try that pickup. Okay? So get your 1 and your 2 ready. We're going to do it in a slur. Ready, and... close, Katya. Very close. You hung in there almost till the end. Everybody okay there? I saw the bows move the whole time. So are we feeling okay about that? Is that a foreseeable goal to play it up at that tempo? That's great. Okay, cool. Now, yes, Joy.
Question? Yeah. So I found that I'm starting to look at my fingers all the time when I'm playing. Is that a bad habit to get into?
You know, it's a good question. You're not the first person that's asked me that. I gotta say that, first of all, it does absolutely no good to look at your left hand when you're playing. I know it feels like it's a good thing to do, like it's going to help you, but it really doesn't do any good for a number of reasons. First of all, as soon as you put your third finger down, the other two are completely invisible to you, right? There's no way to tell how far your finger is from the nut from this angle, right? Because they're all lined up in front of you. So really it doesn't do a huge amount of good to look at them. It doesn't mean you should stop. There's no...
I think since I put the tape on it, that's why I started looking.
Yeah, and with the tape, I think I said before that you want to feel it rather than see it, because it's hard to judge, especially if you know, like I have a few people that have bifocals. And so they start to try to peer down there. You can't see it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's far better to feel it. Yeah. But I don't think it really hurts to look at your fingers when you're playing. But I had a teacher once that told me if you're going to look at anything, it should be your right arm while you're trying to play.
Is that right?
Yeah, because that's where you're trying to actually kind of make changes and stuff. And the other thing is, what I noticed on tour, when I was on tour, I was trying out a couple of these tunes. This is back in the Magic of Ireland days when I was doing it every night. And I was trying out a couple of these tunes that had difficult little finger work things because it was Irish and I was trying to work in the Irish, you know. And I found a couple of nights, rather than looking at my fingers, I had my eyes closed and I was picturing my fingers. And I found that to be a very direct way to make changes to the movement of your fingers. It's kind of a yoga way of thinking. You visualize them, and then I found that they did what I wanted kind of a bit easier. Okay? Yeah. Anybody else have questions like that? That's such a great question. No? Okay, so we're going to work on getting the swallowtail up to that tempo for next time. I'm not sure what that tempo is. I think it's about 60. I think that's what we're aiming for if you're using a metronome. I don't know if you are, but if you have any reference.
Yeah. Dancing, I need to get up. I got to get up to like 120 or something.
That's dance tempo is 114 to 120. Yeah, eventually. That's your eventual goal. Okay, so basically, if you're having trouble remembering how fast to do it, think of how fast we did it at the beginning and then push it a bit. And that's what I want you to do. Make it a little uncomfortable for yourself, because I want this tune to be the tune we get actually working right. Now, let's practice our A major scale, shall we? Everybody remember we did that? It starts on the low A, that's the G1. And we're going to have spaces between our fingers for the G string and the D string. But on the A string, it's going to be regular first position. Okay, with a gap between 1 and 2 and no gap between 2 and 3. So, let's get our A ready. Everybody check that A. Making sure it sounds like mine. Okay, everybody looks satisfied now. Let's give it a try. Ready, and... Now that looked so confident. Everybody looked so confident doing that. Let's just do it again right away. Ready, and... All right, how's that feel, everybody? Anybody having a problem with the key of A? No, it's a little different, feels a little different, has a different sound quality as well than G. Okay? Anybody have any problems or questions or comments about that A? Okay, cool. So let's move on to Miss McLeod, shall we? Now, I realized that I hadn't uploaded the video of Miss McLeod's to YouTube, but it was, you could still access it from the last class. But so I did. I uploaded it today. It's on there now. The slow version of Miss McLeod's reel. And I also sent everybody the music with fingering. Everybody get that okay? Yeah? Okay, good. So did we learn? I can't remember now. Did we get the whole thing? Did we learn the whole thing? No, just the A part? Just the first part. So let's work out the first part a little bit. We'll do it a couple of times together. And then we'll get that B part. But first, I want to hear somebody play the A part for me too. So let's practice it together first. Get that pickup note ready with the up bow. A2, up bow. And we're going to go dead slow. Ready, and... Again. Now that looked pretty good for the most part. Who wants to be the first to play it for me and see how it's coming along? Nancy's going to do it, I can tell.
I am. I'll get it done with.
Yeah, that's great. Now you're getting everything right there. One thing that's going to help you a lot, because you actually started it backwards. You started it going up bow, which is actually kind of difficult. Yeah. Now the pickup note there, you didn't play a pickup note.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
No.
but if you had, that would be an up bow.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, so, and the pickup is,
It's an A2. Yeah.
okay.
You see how comfy that feels on the arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
The other
Thanks.
thing that's going to help you a lot is you see in the music where it has these slurs. I think I might have mentioned them last time. The up bow slurs.
Okay.
You see that?
I
Yeah.
sorry, I can't see it. I will look at it though.
Okay, yeah. So there, I'll just show you. So there's a slur, there's an up bow slur there.
Okay.
See that little V for victory sign? First of all, you guys all know that V for victory is up bow, right? And the staple is a down bow. Okay, so that V for victory is an up bow. And you see that little curved line above those two notes there?
Yes.
That's a slur. So that means
Okay.
that you play those two bows in one, or sorry, those two notes in one up bow.
One up. Oh,
Yeah.
and V for.
V for
Okay.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with that. Oh, actually, the reason that V for victory is the up bow is it's because of the way that the bow looks. Because when you do the up bow, it's this kind of little V here that goes up in the air, and then for the down bow, it's the frog. The staple refers to the frog. I never knew that. I read it recently. I've been reading a lot. Anyway, so yeah, so that's an up, what we call an up, and it's a very common thing in reels. And it'll make each of your phrases bow the same way, which makes you sound stronger, okay?
Okay.
And we'll give that a try. Who else wants to give it a try? Come on. Who are the brave souls that want to play it for us? Yes, Sharon, let's do it.
Okay.
Little squeal there.
In front of people.
Yeah. Really good, Sharon. Really good. Good intonation. You got all your ups in there, and you're making a good sound. So the only thing I would say is to be a little bit more confident. Move that bow. Go a little quicker, but we'll do it together. Don't worry. That was very good. Very good. Anybody else want to give it a try? Shona, did you learn this with us, or I can't remember now? You didn't, eh?
I did. I am behind.
You're behind. Anything
But
you
I
want
did
me to?
listen,
So,
but I'm reviewing.
okay. Anything you want me to help you with, or can we just grind away at it?
No, just grind away.
Okay, good. Any other questions or problems before we grind away at that part a little bit more, maybe get it a little tiny bit faster? Anything at all? Excellent. Let's do it. So let's see if we can get those slurs in there, guys. And we're going to start our big pickup note on an up bow. Okay? So everybody put your bow on there at the tip. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now what happened to you, Katya?
Not much. Just it just makes me laugh if I can't keep up. I don't know why. Ah,
Awesome.
I'm
Okay.
having a lot of fun, even though if I can't play it. So
Anything specific, or just kind of just something got in their
no,
way?
it's just I haven't practiced this piece at all, and that makes it hard.
Sure.
The good thing I find, so I have the notes, the the fingering you sent today.
Yeah.
I put that up on the wall. So the only good thing is if I look at the A2, A3, and whatever, then I don't look at my finger on the violin, which is good in a way because then you sort of.
Yes, it is better.
So I don't know. How
It
to
is
say.
better not to look at your fingers. However, one really good thing to do is if you do have to look at your fingers, or actually even just in general, just do what the classical guys do. The classical guys point their scroll at the music. See that? And then you got your fingers and the music in the same shot, as it were. Okay? That's what they do. So if you ever noticed in the orchestra, they don't play like this. They play like this.
Right.
See
Yeah,
that?
that makes sense.
Okay, so that might help. Yeah. Now, Shona, how did you do that time? You got a little bit more in that time, eh?
No, he did not. I had you scrolled over. It's better.
Yeah, okay.
Making it maybe.
Fake it till you make it.
Go like this.
Oh, no, you can't get past me. I'm really good at fiddle reading now. I was telling Jen about it. I'm expert.
I'll get it. I just didn't get time to look at it.
Okay, cool. If there's anything specific, though, I'm here to help. Now, let's take a look at the second part, okay? Now, there's a couple of screwy things with it, like a couple of unintuitive things. But there's also a lot of repetition. So I'm going to play this second part and so you can get it in your heads. It starts off with this kind of big bunch of A with a C in it. See that? A, A, C, A. And then it goes to the E, and then the F. That's the note I find a little not intuitive, is that F. But anyway, so that whole phrase is A, C, A, E, C, C, F. That's the open phrase there. Now, like I said, I'm going to play this part for you a couple of times. We already know that part. Okay, so that's the B part. So you can hear, there's actually, since we already know the ending, we actually only need to learn 2 phrases here. Okay? And you can notice, I want everybody to look at this B part and tell me how many C's are there. How many C's on that A string? There's a lot. There's one, in the first bar there's 3, in the second bar there's 5, and then 3 more, and then 3 more in the one after that, and then 5 in the following measure. So you're sensing a pattern here, okay? The C sharp is the big note of this part, okay? So let's get this first phrase. We got A, C, A, E, C, C, F. Let's all play that together. Starting off with the open A string. Ready, slow. A, C, A, E, C, C, F. And like I said, that F is the one that is a little tricky. So let's do that again. Open A, ready, and. A, C, A, E, C, C, F. Okay, that really well. One more time. I'm not going to say the notes this time. Ready, and... Okay, did that work? That looked like it worked. Okay, now we'll get the next bit, which is all the C's. Okay, let's try that together. C, 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 B, C, C, A. When in doubt, play a C. Ready, and... C, 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 B, C, C, A. One more time. Ready, and... Okay, that's that. So let's stick all that together now. Starting at the top of the A part, let's play that first phrase, okay? A-A-C-A. Ready, and... Let's do it again. Ready, and... One more time there, guys. You having a problem, Shona?
I was trying to look at the notation while you were talking. I just got myself lost.
Okay, we'll do it again. One more time with that whole phrase. And it's good to practice it because we got to do it again later. Ready, and... Okay, now the next phrase starts off exactly the same way. So we already know that. But then it does a bunch of B's. Okay, so let's start that second phrase. We're starting on the last line of the tune here. The first bar in the last line of the tune. So it starts off the same way as the first phrase, A-A-C-A. Ready? And A, C, A, E, C, C, F. Now B, 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 open, B, B, C. And then we do the first one again. Okay? Let's do that middle phrase once more time. So that's A-A-C-A. This is the last line. Ready, and A, C, A, E, C, C, F, B. Open, B. Another B. C. Okay? One more time with that, just to be sure, A-A-C-A. Here we go. Ready, and A. First phrase again. Ending. Okay, cool. So we went straight through to the end there, and we only had a couple of casualties, which is really excellent. A couple of people forgot to put their helmets on, I think, maybe. So why don't we now start at the top of the B part, and no stopping. Even if they chop your head off, just keep going, okay? Drag yourself along like Terminator at the end until we get right through. So AAC8, top of the B part, ready, go! B! CE, ending. Do it again. AACA. CE, ending. Okay. Well, that was the B part. Anybody having any problems at all? Yes, Shona? Oh, you got your arm. You got your arm in the unmuting.
I'm just moving you because I'm trying to see you and my little helper sheet that you sent out at the same time.
Oh, okay. That's
I have you over here.
I had a weird thing. My big screen stopped working tonight for some reason.
No.
It's just blue, you know? It's amazing what, like, we're all relying on now. Like, imagine if all this stuff didn't work tomorrow. Like, everybody would be so screwed.
Like 3 screens over there. I don't know why I don't use those. There's 3 more over there. One for you.
Anyway, anybody having any questions or problems at all with that B part? Anything? No? It's pretty straightforward. How about you, Sherry?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the whole entire thing, but that's okay. It's just going to take practice and getting the tune in my ear. 'Cause usually once I get the tune in my ear, I can play it. So
Yeah.
I just need to get the tune under my belt, and then I'll be able to play it.
Have you tried singing the tune?
Not this part, but on other ones, yeah.
That's good because the Irish people have an expression: if you can sing it, then you can play it, even if you haven't tried to play it on your instrument yet. Which is actually, I have, it's interesting. There's been a couple of times when I've been at a session and I hear a tune and it's like, oh, I've been meaning to get that tune. I heard that tune a lot of times. I've been meaning to get it, and I go and I take my fiddle and I start trying to get it, and I already know it. And I realize that it's because I've been singing it in my head, So that has been really useful for a lot of people, is to sing it. So, use my recording if you need to. Sing along, and that's going to get under your fingers. Now, I think that I just put the slow recording up on YouTube. So maybe I'll put the fast recording up there too, so that you can just listen to it in a general way. Because that's kind of the really important thing for that.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or problems or queries or anything at all about Miss McLeod's B part? Okay, good. So you guys are going to practice a few things this week. You're going to do, first of all, your G major is getting better. So I want you to up the game a bit. Go a little faster. See what goes wrong. See if you can make some positive changes towards that. Secondly, then you're going to work on the swallowtail, and your main goal in life with the swallowtail is to get it faster, just a little bit faster. When you do go faster, use it as the tester. Pay attention to what went wrong. Go back to the slow, work out what went wrong, go back to the fast, and see if it's worked. Okay. And then with the Miss McLeod's, you're going to work on A major diligently and every day. Scale and arpeggio if you can, and then with stitching together the whole Miss McLeod's is what we're looking at, okay? Slow is fine for now. Nice and slow, in tune with a good sound. Okay? Everybody got a good plan for practicing? Excellent. Any questions? Excellent. We'll see you next week, guys. Thank you.